Toronto Argos, go, go, go. Pull together, fight the foe, foe, foe. Scoring touchdowns for the blue on blue. The Argos will win for you. Full of fight and courage, you can't stop. They pile up the points until they reach the top. Pull together till the Grey Cup's won. Go Argos, go, 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 go. Scoring touchdowns for the blue on blue. The Argos will win for you. Full of fight and courage, you can't stop. They pile up the points until they reach the top. Pull together, the Grey Cup's won. Go Argos, go Toronto, go. Go Argos, go, go, go.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Season 5, Episode 4 of the Argo Bounce Podcast Show, a weekly independent, non-affiliated show devoted to the CFL's 19-time Grey Cup champion, Toronto Argonauts. And I hope everyone is doing well on this Saturday, June 27th, 2026. I call it Victory Saturday. And we're going to try to bring on our co-host right now, Nick Small. I do apologize, Nick and everyone. This is our first show in 11 days. Just I've overbooked myself, overextended myself, and I'm happy to get episode 4 in today here on the Saturday, June 27th, 2026. And for all Argo fans, this is a Victory Saturday as the Argos won a rare game in Saskatchewan last night, 40-34. And I have my co-host Nick Small on, who watched the game as well last night on TSN. Dustin Nelson and Luke Wilson, I thought, did a really good job with the call as well, Nick.
To be honest, I didn't have either of them on. I was listening to the 1050 broadcast, our good old buddies, Mike Hogan and Ben Grant, who, as always, did a spectacular job with the coverage. But yeah, it's a great morning, great day to be an Argos fan. I hope Enoch Mwamba had the best sleep of his life since winning the Grey Cup in 2022 and the MOP. Also in Saskatchewan when they beat the Blue Bombers. He is the only one of the CFL panelists and the TSN panelists to pick the Argos. He knows what's up. And a huge win for them on their home away from home game in some place in the middle of nowhere, Saskatchewan.
Before we get started on the Argo game last night, too, a couple of things I want to bring up. I will be doing a run for pause, 40-yard dash in hopefully less than 14 seconds with Chris Belnovich, who hopefully will finally come on our show. I've known Chris for 5 years, but he's behind the scenes type guy. So the 40-yard run for pause is going to be a fundraiser for the Cambridge District Humane Society, and all I'm asking everyone is if you can donate minimum $5 or more, whatever you can give, and the money will go to the Cambridge Humane Society. And I'm going to run the 40-yard dash in less than 14 seconds, and this will be videotaped, and it will happen in the month of July at Argos practice at Alumni Stadium at the University of Guelph. And I assure everybody I am in good shape. My heart's good. My back's good. My knees are good. And I'm not drinking beer for a month. So I'm going to try to practice a couple more times. And hopefully we can raise a little bit of money for the Cambridge Humane Society. So it's called Run for Pause. And you guys can DM me on social media, or you can email me at cpomay19@gmail.com. Or you can PayPal me at PayPal@Chris Pomay, or you can donate directly to the Cambridge Humane Society through their website, cambridgehumanesociety.org. And Nick, my co-host, was kind enough to make a very generous donation yesterday as well. And my goal is at least $200 and hopefully more as well. So if you want to help out, just DM me here on social media platforms.
It's all going to good cause, Chris. Don't let us down.
And I won't. And I have another viewer watching on YouTube, and I saw him at practice. Ken, good morning, guys. Ken shot some good footage of Jake and me kind of doing a light practice, and also some pictures of me interviewing some Argo players as well. I've got a couple of good interviews with Darius and Alex today from the Argos. We're going to interview later on in the show. But Ken, thank you so much for watching our show. And again, I apologize for the I think 11 or 12 day gap in between shows. So hopefully we can do this on a weekly, more consistent basis as well. Nick, I want to, before we get into the game again, I want to also mention about two new Argos to the old time Argos in Carl Braisley from my generation, and from your generation and everyone's generation, Kevin Iben. Thoughts on Iben and Braisley becoming all-time Argos in 2026?
Yeah, it's really exciting news. I know Carl Braisley was someone a lot of people have been wanting on the all-time Argos list for a while now. So he finally gets his name added into the ranks of the all-time Argos. And then, Kevin Iben, of course, just up until last year, he was a linebackers coach with the Toronto Argonauts. After his playing career, and I mean, you see him like a lot of these coaches in practice, he still looks like he could play, and definitely would not want to be in a wrestling match with him. So it's exciting for both of them. Really, really happy for them, and it's great to as we keep seeing that banner just get bigger and bigger and bigger as more and more iconic Argonaut names get added to it. It's exciting to see, and I mean, even now you kind of start thinking 10 years from now, what are names of some of the all-time Argos going to look like, who would get added? Not necessarily just people who are playing right now in the 2020s, but some of the players from the 2010s or even further back, as we see with Mr. Braisley.
Carl Braisley was with the Argos from 83 to 92. How he came to Toronto was because he was with Ottawa Rough Riders under Obi when Obi was with Ottawa. So when Obi came to Toronto, he made sure he brought in Carl Braisley because Carl was on the 82 Rough Riders team that lost the East Final to the Toronto Argonauts as well. And Carl Braisley was a part of 4 Grey Cup teams in Toronto, and he was also, most importantly, a part of that 83 team that ended the 31-year drought in BC with an 18-17 win over BC. So a lot of Carl Braisley coming to Toronto was due to the fact that Bob Obilovich was an assistant coach with Ottawa when Braisley was with Ottawa. So that was an outstanding addition. 83 to 92, 4 Grey Cup appearances with Toronto, winning in 83 and winning in 91. The 87 team that he was a part of was the last Argos team to lose a Grey Cup, and they lost 38 to 36 to Edmonton on a Jerry Corrick, I think, with a last second 49-yard field goal. That was still one of the better Grey Cups I watched. And Kevin Iben, tough-nosed, hard-nosed, physical football player, high football IQ, and I think Kevin Iben and Carl Braisley were excellent choices. And I believe Mike Hogan is on that committee, or part of the committee that decides who gets in. And I'd like to have Mike on our show again at some point.
Yeah, it's the CFL Alumni Association, so it's a vote among all the members who are alumni, former Argonaut players or coaches. So they make up the group for that. And then, just looking at, I was just looking at Kevin Iben's accomplishments just a little further. 4 Grey Cup rings, 2004 as a player, and then as a coach,
All-Star,
2017, 22, 24. Yep, three-time CFL All-Star, 2-time Lou Heyman Trophy winner for East MVP. It's a huge list of accomplishments on both these individuals. So it's really, really exciting to see them get added.
We have more viewers. Rob Schneider is watching from Buffalo. Good morning, Chris and Nick. Go Argos, go Bills. He's watching on YouTube. And we have our St. Louis connection here. George Brown watching on YouTube. Good morning, Chris and Nick. And then George has another comment. Unfortunately, George missed the game last night, so I'm waiting for CFL Classics on YouTube to upload the game. George, you can see the highlights of the game if you want. They've already been the highlights of the game. have been downloaded to YouTube. So if you want to check out some of the big scoring plays and the big plays in that game, please do so. And there was a lot of big plays in that game last night too.
That I do have to say that low key that channel's got a lot of great classic games from the 80s and 90s. If you're ever bored or it's a slow day and you need something on, lots of great videos you can go see. I definitely like rewatching the 1996 Grey Cup. I could watch that game if I could only watch one game for the rest of my life. Again, that would be the one to watch. That was probably the best football game ever, in my opinion.
For me, 87. 87. Even though the Argos lost, that game was back and forth. And the 87 Argos weren't really supposed to win the Grey Cup that year. They kind of came out of nowhere. And it was a great job by Bob Obilovich and the team and stuff like that. And they had, I think, Gilbert Renfro and Danny Barrett, and they were going against Edmonton's Damon Allen and Matt Dunnigan as well. And they were just so close to winning the Grey Cup that year. And then the next year, the Argos were the favorites to win the Grey Cup. And then they ran into a buzzsaw in Winnipeg at Exhibition Stadium in the last game there and lost to the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. So you just never know. But yeah, I would say the 96 Grey Cup is right up there too, Nick. I agree with you. And we've got, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say, speaking of not knowing, we should probably get into talking about the game last night and how not seemed like nobody had the Argonauts picked to win this game, so we get that to talk about now.
And George Brown's final comment: 2017 Grey Cup was epic in a snowstorm too. I guess we could do a show on the best Grey Cups. I don't think we're going to all agree on them, but I think that would be great. Thank you to George Brown and Ken. Ken, if you got questions or comments, please put them in the box. Same with George and anyone else watching. Want to say thank you to everyone watching live on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitch, X, Instagram, and on our audio platforms such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Good Pods, and wherever podcasts are available. And Nick, let's get into it. Overall assessment of the Argos, 40 to 30. What was it? 40 to 31 or 34 last night over Saskatchewan. Was it 40-31?
I believe so. 40-31 sounds right.
For some reason, yeah. So I think I had the right score, but for some reason I thought Saskatchewan had 34.
It was 34. Yeah, sorry, my bad.
Okay.
I did. Yeah, they did score. They kicked the field goal late there and then couldn't recover the onside kick. But it was 40-31 for the longest time.
My apologies to the Saskatchewan Roughriders for shortchanging you of 3 points. So the Argos big win, 40-34 over Saskatchewan. Nick, just thoughts on winning? I guess technically it was a home game for the Argos last night, but how important was it to beat the Grey Cup champions and do it right in Saskatchewan?
Yeah, I mean, it was huge for them. I mean, we've seen that playing in Saskatchewan seems to be a bit of a lucky place for them. Of course, I already mentioned that was where they won the Grey Cup in 2022 there, although that game was against Winnipeg. But they seem to find something there that they can't sometimes in other places on the road. To get this win against Saskatchewan is huge because as you kind of saw, on the power rankings, Riders were coming into this game as the number one favorite in the entire league. Toronto, they lost a close game to Montreal that you could argue they should have won. I mean, it was an insanely high scoring game, and if the defense had just stopped any one drive, they would have probably won that game. And then they thumped Ottawa good, but because it was taken as Ottawa being not good as opposed to Toronto being good. This win now puts them in right where we were hoping to see them 3 games into the season. They've got 2 wins after 3 games played. If they can get 1 or 2 more wins now in the next 4 games that they've got to play on the road before they're back home, they're in really, really, really good shape going forward. And once they kind of get there, the really challenging part's done, and then it's just to focus on grinding it out for the playoffs.
One thing I've noticed about this Argos team this year, so far they've gotten off to good starts. And last night, the Argos' first drive, excellent drive. Sam Hicks, the rookie from Fort Worth, Texas, 61-yard run. Unfortunately, it led to a Kelly interception in the end zone. But I think one of the key points was the defense didn't get devastated by that. They basically 2-0 for Saskatchewan, and then Jerian Grant returns a punt 68 yards. And that really sent a message. Even though Kelly threw a pick in the end zone, the defense set the tone, and then special teams set a tone. And I thought, and I told everyone, for them to win this game in Saskatchewan, they're going to need the defense to make big plays, which they did with the Pickett fumble late in the fourth quarter, the McFadden interception, and then Javon Grant gave them great position of field position and that touchdown. So I think the defense, special teams, and the offense contributed to this win last night. But I really do feel Grant's punt for a touchdown, 68 yards, set the tone for the Argos, even though they had a little setback with the Kelly interception. And one thing about Chad Kelly, he's no rust at all. I was wrong. I thought he would have rust after 2 years. But one thing about Chad Kelly I like about him right now specifically is he's also now not afraid to use his legs, but he's also doing what he was doing before. So I don't think that injury has set him back at all. And he's got a gunslinger mentality, if you know what that means in terms of football. Sometimes you got to take the bad with the good. Most of the time it's good, but to me, he plays the game like Brett Favre, except he's a bit more athletic than Brett Favre is. And sometimes you got to put up with the interceptions, but he makes a lot of great plays. And there was one last night where he was about to be sacked and he threw the ball on the sidelines. And I believe Tyler Common.
Yeah, that was the Common catch.
The Common Man, that's his nickname now. I'm going to call him the Common Man when I see him next. He's been outstanding. 4 touchdowns in 2 games, and he seems to have developed a chemistry with Chad Kelly. 3, okay.
Yeah, he scored 1 in every game so far and 2 last night. So, really impressed with Tyler Common. I mean, I was fortunate that I was able to meet him his first day in Toronto last season. He came in with, I think, 2 or 3 weeks left in the regular season last year. And yeah, super outstanding dude, really performing just exactly where he needs to in this lineup. And I think he's quickly becoming a connection for Kelly. I mean, I said he looked fine all through camp. So I was in favor of, I had no fears about Chad's play, like right from the get-go. But so it's the 3rd straight game with 300 or more yards passing, which is great. Although this was actually his lowest passing game. I think the first half was a little rough offensively, but
yeah,
it was made up. It was made up by the defense and especially the special teams. I mean, but let's not forget this Riders team. The last time we played them was that game where we lost on the kickoff return touchdown on the final play of the game in Toronto because we only had 11 guys on the field. So I think this was a huge statement for Mickey Donovan and the special teams to really rebound. And as you said, and like we saw, you had the really great 60-yard run by Hicks to open the game. And then you had that Jerian Grant return TD. And now
68 yards.
Any doubts about his age and not looking in form? Well, he's answered all that today, and if they can block like they did there on all those kick returns, they'll be awesome.
And Liam had a good game, 4 for 4 on field goals, including a 51-yarder. So I wasn't really worried about him having one bad game. And Sam Hicks, okay, he only had, I don't know if they used him a lot after that big 61-yard run, but he has so much ability and he's a threat. So Sam Hicks kind of set a tone too. They're right there. And the Argos overall, I believe they ran the ball between Hicks and Kelly and somebody else. I believe it was Smith. They ran the ball about 18 times for 102 yards. And to me, those aren't great numbers, but that's what they should be shooting for every game. And Hicks has got a lot of speed too. He's not the very big running back, but he's really fast. The only thing I would say with Sam Hicks, there was one play where Kelly got sacked and Hicks missed his block. So I do feel Sam, being a rookie, needs to work a little more on his pass protection as a running back. But overall, Hicks contributed, and the Argos running game, you don't want to run the ball 30 times a game, but you don't want to run it twice a game. And this offense has a potential to be one of the best in team history, in my opinion. Nick, I know it's only 3 games in, but if they can continue this pace or be consistent, this will go down as one of the better offensive teams in Argos history at the end of this year.
Yeah, I mean it'll be hard to beat the team in 2023 when they went they only lost 2 games all year that
Yeah.
season. But one of the other things that I think is important to talk about too is the differences in penalties and the differences in turnovers. So
Three,
the
only three penalties. Sorry, Nick, for interrupting. Only three penalties for 22 yards. Mike Miller has got to be pleased with that. The discipline last night was outstanding, and only one turnover, the interception. If you keep it to one or less in penalty, well, you're not going to have only three every game. But I do, Nick, I do think I appreciate you bringing that up. Penalties a non-factor last night, and only one interception, and they played probably their most complete game of the season so far.
Yeah, I mean, compared to some of the other games that they've played this year, where it's kind of one side has maybe had to carry them a little bit. Usually, we've seen it's been the offense where you hope the defense would maybe stop a little bit more points. We also see across the league right now that most games are going very high scoring, and whatever reason the rules set right now is really leaning into offensive scoring. We're not in this lull like we were a few seasons back where teams were struggling to put up points, and whether you want to talk about it because of field position or the wider hash marks or any of that stuff, we are seeing really high scoring games. But yeah, the discipline was important, especially compared to the last couple of weeks where they were taking a lot more penalties. Like when you as I mentioned, you take 100 yards in penalties, 110. That's you're essentially giving up the entire length of the field. You're giving away one touchdown if you think of it that way. And then so if you're able to only give up 20 yards, that's nothing. And I mean, you compare it to Saskatchewan, they had seven penalties for 80 yards. One thing I will say too, because I have to bring it up, I cannot believe in that late part in the fourth quarter they did not call the face mask on the field. Like that had to be one of the worst missed calls I've seen in a long time, just because of how egregious it was. And I mean, I get the one official on the sideline maybe didn't see it because the his back was turned, so you can't really see that. But the official behind the quarterback should have called that instantly. So, but I'm
But
glad they
they
reviewed
did,
it and they got it right.
and they got the one on Hicks. Remember when a couple minutes left, Hicks fumbled the ball, and everyone's like, "Oh,
Yeah, that's the one I'm
Saskatchewan's going to get
that's
the
the one
ball."
I'm talking
They
about.
got it. They got it. They got it. They took away
Yeah,
the.
but
They
yeah,
took.
but what I mean
They,
was they should have called that on the field. Like that shouldn't have needed to be
yes.
reviewed. It was the like Hogan and
Yeah.
Grant were losing their minds. That was the most egregious face mask I've
Yeah.
ever seen, and like to not get that on the field, it's like
But
it's not a good
thankful,
look.
but thankfully, Nick, this wasn't the 70s and 80s or 90s. That would have really been a game changer. So thankfully, the CFL has instant replay and they corrected it. And I agree, they missed it, but at least they got it right. And that's the
Uh,
main thing.
While we're on reviews, I should also bring up that just to put it out there, I think in any situation, challenging the spot of the ball is just a waste of a challenge. I mean, in this instance that we saw with Mike Miller losing the challenge in there, it's just you need to have the big thing is that you need to have a clear view on the replays. And as we kind of saw, there wasn't a good angle of it to really confirm that they could adjust the spot of the ball. I think this is a good lesson learned in that. I just think spot of the ball challenges are probably the worst thing you can throw a challenge flag on. And that was a bit of a momentum swing in that game because we saw it. Toronto was up 13-0, and it was kind of in that moment that the Riders really started to claw back, and it was 17-13, I think, before
Yeah.
Toronto was able to rebound themselves. So just something to think of. I kind of hope we, especially in the first or second quarter, wherever it was, I'd rather see them keep that challenge because like we got lucky there with the review on the turnover, but you never know sometimes with the review system whether a call like that is going to happen. So I think it was better saved for later in the game, in my opinion.
But you know what, Mike Miller so far is 2-1 on challenges. So, but I'm just glad they reversed the one on Hicks. And you're right, the referees missed that one, and that was a blatant face mask. But thankfully, the CFL, like I said, has replay, because back in the past, that would have been kind of a game changer. And who knows, Saskatchewan could have taken that in and won the game there as well. Hey, Nick, I wanted to play a couple interviews this morning, and we'll get back into more of the Saskatchewan game. I was at Argos practice this week along with Ken, and I got to interview a couple Argos players. And the first interview we're going to do is linebacker Darius McKenzie, who is from Ottawa, and we're going to play the interview right now. And by the way, this is courtesy of my YouTube channel, Chris Pomay Live with CDP Talk Show. I'm only 120 subscribers away from 1,000, so please subscribe, like, and share. And here's a linebacker from the Toronto Argonauts, Darius McKenzie, number 40. Here at the Toronto Argonauts practice at Alumni Stadium at the University of Guelph, I have a special guest today, Toronto Argonauts, Darius McKenzie. Darius, thoughts on today's practice here in Guelph?
Today's practice was great. High energy. We had everyone flying around, offense making plays, defense making plays, special teams making plays. So, when we have that synergy, everything's going to go well, and I'm looking forward to the game this weekend.
Can you tell the Argo fans a little bit about yourself?
I'm from Ottawa, Ontario. Grew up there until I was 16. Moved down south to play high school football for 2 years. Went to play at the University of Maine, played at the University of South Alabama, had a pretty good college career. And this is my first year back up north since 2019, and I'm excited to get to work for the Argonauts.
Who are some of your early football influences and mentors in your career?
I'd say probably my father is my biggest influence. He played football growing up, and he just was always there to coach me, whether it was just like training with track in the gym, football practice. He was just always there to help me with anything. And then I had a few other influential coaches like Gridiron Academies, Victor Todondo, and just some other guys around the city of Ottawa that have always just helped the whole community.
When you grew up, were you Ottawa Rough Riders, Red Black fan?
Yeah, as soon as we did get the Ottawa Red Black, so thinking about 2015, 2016, I started getting tickets. My dad's a season ticket holder, so I was a Red Blacks fan until the draft happened, and I was go Argonauts. We don't mess with the Red Blacks anymore.
What was it like going over to the States for college football?
It was a great opportunity, just to go over there, experience a new culture. I got to live in Alabama. I got to live in Maine, meet some new people, make great friendships, got a free education, got a free undergrad, 2 free master's degrees. And, it's just a great opportunity to be down there and experience a different culture, play some high-level football, and get ready for CFL football.
What makes the CFL so special?
I think what makes it so special is just like the Canadian aspect and the uniqueness of the game. Like there's just nothing like it. Like it's nice to come back home, play on the bigger field, the 3-down football. I feel like it's a little bit more competitive. Just like even with the 3-minute warning, you never know what can happen at the end of the game. You could get 5 more series, and the game could be flipped back, forth. It's just a great game, and I really love it.
What's 2 words to describe Darius McKenzie?
Dominant and unique.
Is there a story behind your number 40?
Honestly, it was just assigned to me, and I've just taken advantage of the opportunity to wear this number. I wear a great pride, and it's my number for now.
And just thoughts on the win against Ottawa, 44-24 on Saturday.
It was a solid win. It was great to get out there, get our first win of the season, especially after the unfortunate loss in week 1. Definitely got a few other things to clean up, but as long as we just keep stacking the days, getting better like we did this week, we're going to keep picking it up and get more wins.
Darius, what's a fun fact about yourself?
Fun fact about me is I've been day trading for the past 8 years, and I own my own financial corporate business here, legal in Ontario.
How important is education as an athlete?
I'd say education is very important because you never know when your last snap is going to be. So as long as you can take care of that opportunity, especially going down south, getting free education, that like if football doesn't work out at any moment, that you do have the education to fall back on, and you'll be able to have a good career and live a successful life, and then go into other things.
And just quick thoughts on the game against the Grey Cup champion Saskatchewan Rough Riders this Friday.
It should be a good game. They were the champions last year, but they're not the champions anymore. It's a new season, fresh start. They have a couple wins we got to win, and now it's time to go in. So you want some more on Friday night.
Final thoughts for Argonaut fans, and where can they find you on social media?
On social media, Instagram and Twitter, my name is Darius J. McKenzie. You can follow me there, reach out, whatever. And, yeah.
And what do you have to say about the fans here? How much do you like the fans here?
The fans. I really appreciate the fans, especially for we had a scrimmage over here that came out to Guelph. That was nice to have people from Toronto, but our way. Great opportunity to meet with them, meet kids, signing jerseys, signing little letters and all that, getting to meet the community. So it's a great fan base. Even going to Ottawa, we had a whole bunch of fans. I had a whole bunch of family come down. So it's a great fan base, and I really love it.
Well, Darius, I want to say thank you so much. Continued success and good luck against Saskatchewan Friday night. This is Chris Pomay from CDP Media Productions, and also a little plug. The Argo Bounce podcast show with Nick Small and myself this Saturday morning at 10 a.m. on YouTube, talking Argos Saskatchewan Rough Riders. Darius, thank you so much for your time today.
No problem. Thank you.
Nick, thoughts on the interview with Darius McKenzie?
Great interview. It's always interesting to hear some of the things about certain players. Now you know who to go to if you want investment advice. need to make some money off your money. But yeah, good interview. I mean, we haven't seen a whole lot from McKenzie yet, just because he's further down on the depth chart. So, but he's gonna have his moment to get into the game. It's gonna happen at some point. Just the nature.
Got to be ready. Got to be ready. Got to be ready.
Yeah, so it looks like they've got the right attitude as a team. Like, you hear about the energy, the vibes of the team going in. Like, they're not letting all this travel and stuff really be dejected. They're really coming together for it, and I think that's such a good mentality. It's the way the Argos are pulling together, going through it as a team.
And I have one more interview to play before we wrap up our show this morning, and that's with Alex Trebner. Is it Trebner? He's a defensive back, Alex.
Yeah,
they got him.
Tebner. He came in.
Tebner.
He was added to the depth chart there this week, along with Anthony Wilson.
He's a defensive back, and I believe he played at Ball State or Boise State. I know he's from Oregon. He's originally from Oregon, and he's a defensive back, and I believe he was with the BC Lions training camp. But I had a chance to speak to Alex, and he had a lot to say too.
Yeah, he's I'm just checking now on the depth chart sheet. Yeah, Boise State.
Boise State.
Yeah, I mean, it was interesting because we had Wilson and Tebner come in for in at safety. Of course, we know what happened with Priester in Ottawa. He's I think it's a fractured or not a fracture, a torn ACL, I believe. Either way, he's done for the season. And then we saw Ethan John also wasn't able to dress this week. I don't know personally. You'd probably know better being at camp, but I believe his injury isn't as severe as Priester's is. He's just on the one game, so we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I have a feeling we could see Ethan John back soon, but because of it was really interesting. They did this a lot in the game that I think really threw Trevor Harris for a loop. They had Cam Judge dropping back into coverage a lot. Thanks, Ken. Torn Achilles, that's what it was. So, but yeah, but it was great to see the versatility that Cam Judge has, something that I don't think we've seen as much in the past. So I thought it really was a big advantage that led to their victory there last night.
And it's important to have good depths on this team, Nick, because there's always an X factor in professional football, and that's the injury list. And hey, I want to say get well to Robert Priester, and hopefully he'll be back with the team next year and just make a full recovery. It's going to be devastating when you're a professional athlete, and he just came back to the Argos this year for this to happen. So it's kind of a setback, and hopefully he'll be back ready for them next year in 2027.
I mean, McKenzie said there in an interview, you never know when your last snap's going to be. Yep. And I mean, obviously we wish Priester Robert all the best. But yeah, as they kind of say, like, okay, now you have this setback. You don't know if it's just a season thing or if it could cause problems longer down the line. So that's why it's just so important as a player, like as you see him talk about making smart financial decisions and investing in your future. Your education is as equally as important as playing or your football career in college and as a professional. It's knowing having a path for what you want to do that you enjoy after football, right?
Yeah. One thing, Nick, I wanted to talk about Jake Herslow. He's recovering from a hamstring. I guess with the production of Tyler Common, they don't have to rush back Jake Herslow. And at some point, Jake's going to be ready to play. Who do you sit out? Who do you take out that's going to be a tough decision for the Argonauts because Tyler has done really well, but Jake is a big contributor to this offense as well. So they're going to have some tough decisions to make up. I think they have the most depth and the most talented receiving core in the league. I know Hamilton might say otherwise, but I think the Argos have the best receiving core altogether.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the depth chart that they had last night, I have to think that, well, Tristan Reddy would probably come out for in terms of the roster spot, even though he's not, even though you're losing the Canadian there, but I think. Yeah, it's hard to tell, but I think it does aid to the versatility because as we see so often, you don't have one primary target usually for multiple weeks for the Argonauts that you can really key against. It's that ability that Chad's going to get the ball to whoever's open. So it leads to that versatility, that flexibility. Ben Grant talked about at the end of the broadcast last night. The great thing with someone like Chad is his ability is that you scheme up a play where it's like, okay, your primary target is Dave Unger or Tyler Common, but if he sees Makai Polk running down the field completely wide open, no safety around, he's able to get the ball. He's able to read that and able to get that there, and that's just what makes this lineup so deadly. And then I think in terms of depth, like this has been one of the great kind of surprises so far this early part of the season. When I was looking at the roster during camp and kind of in the beginning of things, I was thinking like, okay, we know who most of our starting guys are, but as guys get injured, as things happen, as guys get tired, how is the depth of this lineup gonna look? And I mean, when you look at some of the guys who are there, you have Pharrell Amana for behind Darkangelo, you have Sluka behind Pickett, you have Owen Goss, who's really made a name for himself behind Cam Judge. So you have that on the defensive side as well. Ojo's looked good on the defensive line, coming in there, like when Chatfield got injured for a portion of the game yesterday there. So like you've got a lot of good pieces that are now able to get in and prove themselves. And then on top of that, last point I'll make, what I really like too is how they've been able to make the big package run a lot more effectively this year. You have Danquah coming in, you have Kassar coming in at fullback, or Parcelitas coming in. You're able to do more now with these packages and some more creativity that isn't just a simple standard kind of 5-6 wide receiver running back kind of setup. You're able to do different things, and I think that's what's really allowing them to succeed this early part of the season.
What were your thoughts overall on the offensive line and defensive line? I know the D line had a couple of sacks, and the defense line gave up 4 sacks. But I personally thought the O line was pretty good last night. They weren't perfect, and the D line, I thought they got some timely sacks. Chatfield had a sack, and somebody else had a sack.
It was
Combo. Yeah, he had a nice sack too, and the one with Chatfield, he was on touch. Somebody missed their block. He nearly took Harris's head off.
Yeah, well, so there were a lot of times this game where the Argos were actually sending heat. We saw kind of they were a bit more hesitant the first 2 weeks. But yeah, so the right tackle, he caught, hang on, bring depth chart up there. He caught Pickett blitzing through, I think it was the A gap or the B gap. And so their right tackle scooted inside, and that just let Chatfield in completely untouched. And the running back was picking up the blitz on the other side. So there was nobody to cover him. And that was a hit he left on Trevor Harris. And then of course Conwell had that other sack earlier in the game, so it was good to see. Like the D, I think, is finally starting to figure some things out now, and they're really starting to click. Where maybe, I think if they played like that in the Montreal game, I think we would have won the Montreal game. There just was a bit too. They got Davis Alexander a bit too hard in that opening game, but yeah, it's good to see the way they're playing now.
Hey, Nick, in my opinion, last night, this team's speed is much faster than last year. I think their discipline, especially only having 3 penalties last night, I think that's improved. And this team is definitely, on the defensive side, a lot more physical than they were last year so far.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I mean, when I'm looking at it, now that it's the third week, we're seeing a lot of those mistakes that were in your first two games. They're kind of going away, and you're starting to really see the true identity of this team. And I think a lot of credit deserves to go to Mike Miller for what he's done, because they really look like a well composed team, and this is the kind of team I know I enjoy watching. That they're well disciplined, they're playing smart, intelligent football.
Wow.
It's really fun to watch.
Nick, I get another comment here, which is great, and this is from Robbie, and Robbie's got a question for you, Nick, and you can answer it. He wants to know: is there a way to stream the games for the Argos? Go Argos!
Yeah, so speaking specifically to United States, for this season, whatever games are not on CBS on the US network, which isn't too many games right now. They usually pick up the games towards the end of the season, in the playoffs. But CFL Plus is still airing in the United States and internationally, so that hasn't changed this year. Starting next year, this is where it becomes a little wishy-washy, because I don't know if the US. I think with the US TV deal, it's similar to the international deal, where you'll be able to watch the games on a DAZN subscription for all of the games, whether it's on TSN or DAZN's new broadcasting thing, whatever they come up with once they get the media rights in Canada. So in the US, it'll be DAZN for everything, as far as I know, except for those CBS games. For Canada, it's going to be just the Saturday evening 7:00 games that will be on DAZN exclusively, not on TSN. All the other games will be on TSN. So that's kind of how it's looking for next year. But I think we'll get more specific details once that is kind of finalized and we get a clear picture. We start to see who gets hired along that. I hear that Chris Cuthbert might not be sticking around with Sportsnet, so maybe he'll come to DAZN, which would be a huge get for them, because he's been a long time play-by-play commentator for the CFL, and I know he wants to get back into it. So we'll see what happens.
Nick, I'm going to play one more interview I did this week with defensive back. They just recently signed Alex Trubner, and he was kind enough to do me an interview at Argo's practice this week as well. And he is a native from Oregon, and he just talked to me a little bit about the adjustment coming to the CFL. So we're going to play this interview right now with Alex Trubner, Toronto Argonauts defensive back, who they got from the BC Lions, and he's a native of Oregon.
Here at Alumni Stadium at the University of Guelph for Argo's practice tonight. I have one of the Toronto Argonauts players. He's from Boise State. His name is Alex. Alex, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself for the fan base?
Yeah, this is my first year up north in the CFL. Grew up in Oregon, played my college ball at Boise State, playing defensive back with the Argonauts, and just getting to know the area. But awesome program, awesome place to be.
Being from the States, from Oregon and Boise State, did you know much about the CFL until you came up here?
So my agent, he was also one of my coaches at one point. His name is Winston Venable, and he played for Montreal, and then I think he played through a camp here in Toronto, actually. But he's a big CFL guy. He loved his time up here, and he's one of the guys I looked up to, and he took me under his wing when I got there. So through him, yes, but it's been a big learning curve and an awesome experience since then, learning stuff figured out on my own.
How much of an adjustment was it from coming from the American game to the Canadian game?
Yeah, it's a big adjustment. I mean, it's all football at the end of the day, but I've been playing American football, if you include flag, since before kindergarten. So it's you get so used to one type of football, and then the slightest little changes seem like the biggest adjustments. But it's a faster paced game. It's a more exciting game, in my opinion, and I'm enjoying the learning curve and just playing it.
How would you describe yourself as a football player and a teammate?
Football player, I take pride in being a physical football player. I like to play with this sense of intuition. That's a product of all the effort I put in the film room and preparation that allows me just to play fast and instinctual. Fearless is always a goal, to get yourself to be able to play fast and fearless. And as a teammate, I'll never ask anything of somebody that I'm not willing to do myself. So I like to lead by action. I like to, wherever I come in, uphold and try to push standards and raise standards. I think that's, if you have a team of people doing that all together, then that's how you get those championship teams.
Can you tell to myself and the fan base how important nutrition is, and also mindset, confidence, and your mindset as a professional athlete?
We'll start with nutrition. I think, especially in my kind of older, I'm a rookie here, but as I get older, you realize the importance of nutrition, because what you put in your body is what you get out, right?
I'm learning that too.
Yeah. Yeah. So, that was a huge point of emphasis for me in these last couple years. I'm still finding ways between even the beverages you're drinking and the food, and how dialed in you are to a calorie count, balancing carbs, protein, and all the other micronutrients. You want to do everything you can control to put yourself in the position to get the physically most out of your body. And then said mindset was your other preparation. Yeah, like I said earlier, like everything that you're able to do on a field on game day is a product of in my opinion, it's a product of the preparation put throughout the week. So when you see those guys, it seems like, how are they? It's like they're guessing plays, or they're reacting like as quick as the offense is showing them in the picture. That's a product of their preparation. That starts, Sunday for a Saturday game. So through film, through meetings, through practice, and then rinse, repeat throughout the whole week, and walkthroughs, just building the confidence. And you see it enough times when it comes in the game. You're playing, it's like second nature.
Do you have any rituals or superstitions before a game?
Not superstitions necessarily. I always wear, I find what I would wear for the season, I wear the same thing every year. Not the same like pair of underwear per se, but the same equipment. And then I always pray when I come out on the field. I like to listen to the same music. So I like to keep things consistent.
Now you're wearing something on your t-shirt. What's that for the fans?
These are our little sports bras that hold GPS units that measure workload. And you know what? You're asking the wrong guy. It's all the data for those guys in the weight room.
Because when I was doing media work for the Buffalo Bisons, the guys before pregame had them on too, and I never really asked them about that. So what's finally we're gonna wrap this up. What's a fun fact about yourself, and what do you have to say for the Argo fans for the game against Saskatchewan on Friday night?
Fun fact about myself, my next most favorite hobby is playing poker, probably. So if I ever get the chance to go, whether it be a trip down to Vegas or just playing home games, I love playing poker.
Who's the best poker player on the team?
On the team, I haven't got the chance to play poker with any of these guys. So hopefully by the end of the year, I have a better answer for you. So let's circle back on that one. But message for the Argos fans. I hope you guys are bought in. He's ready. Woo! I hope you guys are bought in, because this team it works, and I've been around good teams and with great leadership, and this team has all of that and more. Extremely talented across the board, from the coaching staff to the medical staff to the weight staff to the players on the field. This team's built for success and built for a long year. So the goal is to end the year on a win. So I think this team's capable of doing that.
And finally, where can Argo fans follow you on social media?
I'm not a big social media guy. I think my Instagram is like Alexander_Tubner or something along those lines.
And our interview will air on the Argo Bounce podcast show with Nick Small and myself this Saturday at 10 a.m. I want to say thank you so much for doing this interview, and continued success and good luck against Saskatchewan on Friday.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Go Argos.
Nick, what were your thoughts on the interview with Alex Trudner?
Oh, it was great. Kind of cool hearing about some of the performance metrics, having the shirt with the trackers, and yeah, I think it was nice to hear him talk about the importance of nutrition, diet, and exercise. The liquid calories are a killer, so all that sugar and stuff. So, but really interesting to hear his take. As someone, we see a lot of Americans come up who, you know, they've maybe watched a game or two, or like have seen some footage, but don't really know the differences of the game, the intricacies, until they start doing it. One thing I always hear from a lot of Americans that come up after their first year in the off season, the big thing is they do is cardio, because going from a 53 and a third yard field to a 65-yard field, 12 more yards doesn't seem like much in terms of width of the field, but yeah, it takes its toll. So
I want to say thanks to Chris Belinovich. He sometimes I pick who I'd like to interview, but Chris is the one that brought Darius and Alex to me. So I want to say thank you to Chris Belinovich. And I feel we're one of the few podcasts for the team that gets these interviews. And I'm really fortunate, because I wish the fans would see more of these guys. And when I do the interviews, Nick, I just try to speak to them like I'm speaking with you. And I just wanted to ask good questions and also get to know them, and so the fans can know them as well. So I'm really fortunate with Chris Belinovich and to be able to air some of these interviews every week.
I've talked to other CFL fans about it, whether it's, you know, Argo fans or others, and like one of the things I always find is that with football that's especially difficult is that it's harder to recognize a lot of guys in public. I find personally, like when a guy's got his jersey on and his helmet and stuff, like you know who it is. And I mean, some people obviously stand out more than others. Like, you know who Wyndon McManus is if you saw him, or Janarian Grant, or DeMonte Coxey, but there's other players that I find sometimes it's like, I know you're a player, I know you're in this position for the Argos, but it's like, kind of, who are you? But and you don't mean to be like offensive in that, because you want to ask them about being a football player, and being an Argonaut. But you know, some I've talked to always said, you know, that they kill to be recognized as players, especially in a market like Toronto, like when so much focus is on guys, you know, like Austin Matthews or Vladimir Guerrero or George Springer or whoever. Like, those guys get the recognition, and some of the top players on the Argonauts probably don't get the same level of recognition. So versus in a place like Saskatchewan, where everybody recognizes and knows Corey Mace if they see him around. So it's I think it's a good two-way street, right? It's great for fans to get to know the players better on a more personal level, and it's great for the players too, because I think you know, they deserve to be recognized for their talents. They put their bodies on the line each and every week for us for entertainment.
And I was gonna, when you get a minute, Nick, I was just gonna play one more little video clip here, since we're going to promote the Run for Pause, and I'm going to just play this little 7-second clip with Jake Herslow. He's a really good guy, guys. He's a very talented football player, good teammate, but he is very good with media and the fans. And I'm just going to play this little clip of us practicing at Alumni Stadium last week as well. We'll just play it right now. And I'm not going at full speed. Jake was. Okay.
There it is. Get some more. There you go. Oh, there we go. I need to do this. Yeah.
So I'm really looking forward to doing that 40-yard Run for Pause in the next couple of weeks in support of the Cambridge District Humane Society. Nick, have you thought about doing this, a run?
Yeah, I'd be open to it. A little bit of speed, a little bit of always good friendly competition, but the fact that you're raising money and it's going to a good cause, Cambridge Humane Society, I think it's great. It's always awesome to do things like this for charity, and that if as like you kind of seen last year, like when we did our walk for CFL Fans Fight Cancer, it's awesome when it inspires more people to do things for charity and to raise money for the foundations they care about. I think it's great, and love it, Ken. So
two thumbs up to Jake, but Chris smoked him. I used to play sports when I was younger in the 70s and 80s. I was very active playing sports, and I used to love running at school, and I used to get these awards from the government to there used to be these awards they used to give out, silver, bronze awards, and I would always get one of the silver or the bronze awards for being physically active in school and playing sports as well. And I just, even though I'm 54, I'm still very competitive, and I do believe I can get my time under 14 seconds. Obviously, a professional is 4 seconds or less. So for me, if I can hit 40 yards in 14 seconds, I'll be quite pleased.
Hey, if we get all this together, we should compile it, to mix with all the other things that they do in the combine and camp and stuff. Get a good 40-yard dash, broad jump, the shuttle time, the bench press, whatever. We'll compile them together and then maybe submit it for the Argos and see if they'll consider us for a tryout. That would be fun to do.
Ken's watching on YouTube. Jake's a great guy. Always has time to chat with us after practice. He is great with the fans, but he's also good with the media. And he's got nothing but good things to say about Jake. And hopefully we'll see him back in the lineup because Jake adds even more to this lineup as well. So hopefully maybe he'll be ready for the Calgary game. If not, then the Hamilton game on July 18th.
Yeah, one of the positives, like if we don't like talk about people being injured, but one of the positives that you can try to take away is like if you surround yourself with good people in that positive mindset, and it really drives you to focus on what you need to do. Obviously, you're not doing the same kind of exercise as everybody else. You have different priorities, and you do have to take it easier to not re-aggravate the injury. But if you can do stuff like this, and really it builds confidence and it builds positive momentum, pushing people forward. As you know from pinball, he's a big preacher of that, and I think it's you surrounding that good positive mindset is a great thing.
Nick, do you feel after 3 games Chad Kelly is playing at an MOP level? Is there anything in his game that you think he's still a little bit rusty on, or do you overall think he's 100% back?
I would argue he's 100% back. I mean, you could talk about, we could pick on the interceptions, be nitpicky there. One thing, funny enough, I was looking at we didn't really talk about it yet, but there was the one play where he hit the goal post, and it's like, on the one hand, I've kind of taken it as tongue in cheek with the goal post being moved because the Argos benefited from it because they killed time off the clock and scored anyway. So it ultimately was a nothing burger. It didn't affect the game at all. But the one thing I will say is if you rewatch the replay, Dave Unger is standing right there on the goal line wide open, whereas Chad goes for the deeper target. I think sometimes that's where you can sometimes get himself into trouble. I mean, we saw that in the Ottawa game more, and you could argue that was also what led to the interception last night. But I think overall, he's absolutely playing at that MOP level. He's got 300 plus passing yards in every game. We saw in the broadcast, they talked about how the last guy to do back-to-back 400-yard games for the Argos was Damon Allen. And if my memory serves, he had a pretty good career in the CFL. So it's a great, I think he looks fine. And I think I honestly think with the rule changes to the clock, with the extra 10 plays or so we're getting every week now, I really think he has a legitimate shot if just those little misses connect all in one game. I think he can hit 500 and maybe even break Tobin Rote's record. I think he's that close to doing it. If it just needs things to line up right.
Well, to me, the best 3 quarterbacks in the CFL are in the East: Bo Levi Mitchell, Chad Kelly, and Davis Alexander when he's healthy, in my opinion.
Yeah, they're definitely shaping up now. I mean, I know everybody is talking about Nathan Rourke in the last couple seasons. I think the challenge this year is just right now the receivers, when you don't have anybody to throw the ball to, as you can see. And I mean, if again, like we talked earlier about the depth that wide receiver Toronto has. I mean, if things get really bad, that's probably who you'll see. I don't know who you'd move, but you could see a potential shopping move maybe from BC to fill the gaps. But I mean, if you're Toronto right now, I'd say absolutely not. Like, you've got so much good going. Why would you shake it up, right?
And Mattel, who had a big game against Ottawa last night, only had 3 or 4 catches for 38 yards. So every game, there's somebody in this receiving core that can have a big game. So it's not like I got to go to Kevin Mattel every single game, and teams can. There's so many weapons on this team, and last night, like I said, Tyler Common had a great game, and David Unger, who's Mr. Reliable, and DeMonte Coatsy too. I'm not forgetting about him as well. So who's to say he doesn't have a 150-yard game against Calgary on Thursday night? They're all capable of big games.
Yeah, I mean, if we're being honest, like Matal's story the last 2 weeks was great, but I mean, like 4,000 receiving yards by the end of the season. Now that was never going to happen. It's just not sustainable. But yeah, to see though. But yeah, I mean, the fact that we've seen in years past that they've been able to have multiple 1,000-yard receivers, it just says to what we talked about at the beginning of the show, the versatility and the ability. When you're able to spread the ball out to that many guys, it makes it really, really hard to defend against because you can't target on one guy like Kenny Lawler or Hamilton all of last year, right?
Hey Nick, as we wrap the show up in a few minutes, who were your 3 Argo stars of the game?
Yeah, I'm going to lean to a lot of the defensive guys this week. My 3 are going to go towards tea time, Tavares McFadden for that interception. I'm going to go to Cameron Judge for his versatility. Like I said earlier, I really liked the way that they were having him dropping back in coverage. It really screwed up Trevor Harris's brain. And I'll give another credit to Adarius Pickett. I know who you're picking that I left off the list of my 3, but I thought this was the best defensive game that we've seen from them so far. And I think it can only go up from here if they keep playing like that defensively. So my 3 go to the defense.
My 3 go to Kelly, Grant, and Pickett.
Yeah, I have to agree with Janarian Grant. That was the one I had to leave off. That return was awesome, and the fact that all the guys. There's some people thinking is he out of gas? Is he getting up there? But he proved he still got it.
Nick, thoughts on the upcoming game on Thursday, July 2nd, which is not far just after my birthday. A little plug there. It's on short notice, and they're going against the Calgary Stampeders at McMahon Stadium, which has not been too kind to the Argos for many years and decades. Just thoughts on playing Calgary and going to McMahon Stadium, probably the worst stadium in the CFL, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, it's good. It's a good warm up because we're gonna have to be back there in November for the Grey Cup, right? So,
good point.
But yeah, I mean, I think at this point now they're used to they've 3 games into this long road trip. It's just another road game for their standpoint. I know it's short rest, but this happens to every team, and it's nothing new. Everybody's got to go through it. So, and I mean, like we kind of talked about it before the show. If even though it's really short and like they're in Guelph and whatever, it would be the same if they're in Toronto. They'd go back to Toronto. They'd have their only 1 or 2 or 3 practices to walk through, and then fly out probably on Wednesday to be there for Thursday for the game. You just treat it like any other road game like they've been doing. And I mean, I think they're in the right mindset for it because they've had a really strong start to this season, which is exactly what they've needed. And if they take this good mental approach in the Calgary, it's good. And then the other thing I'll bring up, Toronto's on short rest. Calgary's on even shorter rest. They play tonight against BC, so they're in Kelowna in a completely different environment that they've never seen. Neither team has seen before. So they have a lot of that going for them as well. So you can look at a lot of these positives that the Argos can take advantage of when they're there.
I'm not a big fan of Thursday night football. The only good thing out of this, Nick, is after the Calgary game, they won't be playing again until July 18th. Am I assuming there's a gap between the Calgary game and the Hamilton game on the schedule?
Let me bring up the website here.
Because Thursday, July 2nd, Calgary, and then I know they're in Hamilton on Saturday, July 18th. Is there a game in between those two?
Yeah, they play in Winnipeg on the 10th. That's their other home not home game. So yeah, July 10th is against Winnipeg, which hasn't looked too great either. They're the ones that you know, I think they're in the spot that everybody thought Toronto was going to be in at the beginning of the season. Winnipeg's really not looked
No,
good these last
no,
couple of games. I mean Edmonton's the big shocker right now. I mean, like I
3-0.
said, yeah, like I tweeted, how do you? I, I don't think anybody had on their radar 3 weeks in that Edmonton was going to be the top team in the league at 3-0 at this point. So yeah, I'm glad we don't play them until after we're back at home in Toronto. We play the Calgary game at home. That's our first actual home game. And then we're in Edmonton on the 15th to play them, and then we host Hamilton in the CNE game on the 22nd.
Oh, Ken's got the same thoughts as I do. Ken says rumor has it. It's rumor has it, and it's still to be confirmed. The team might fly to Calgary and practice there instead of Guelph, since it is a Thursday game, and that would make more sense economically, Nick, than flying all the way back to Toronto, driving back to Guelph, and then having to go out there again. So Ken's got the same thoughts on me there as well. That as much as I want them in Guelph this week, I wouldn't be surprised if they just did that as well. So I guess we'll find out what's going to happen.
Yeah, it's a weird, it's a weird season. I mean, we saw, I mean, if talking economic decisions, they, like I said, play in some place in the middle of nowhere in Saskatchewan, in the middle of nowhere in Manitoba, instead of middle of nowhere Ontario. So
don't say that to the people here in Guelph. By the way, George Brown's watching on YouTube. He says the Argos are doing good on the road. I hope this is a sleeper team for the Grey Cup. Well, one game, 1 week at a time, and that's what I tell the fans. Don't get too carried away right now. 2-1's a good start, but it's still only June. We'll just take one game, 1 week at a time approach, and that's how the Argos and most of the CFL teams, football teams, have it. 1 week, one game at a time. You can't start thinking overhead, hey, this team's going to be in the Grey Cup. It's way too early yet, and anything can happen with injuries and stuff like that too.
yeah, but I mean, if you're a betting man, you can get a good price. I'd say anything like, plus 600, plus 800, 6-1, 8-1, pretty good. If you're looking like at the long-term prop bet, I think you can find some good value. I mean, don't forget the day leading up to the Grey Cup that they won in 2024, they were plus 450. That's how much the rest of the world doubted the Toronto Argonauts. So
use that as the underdog mentality. You got to use that. By the way, and Nick, from your perspective, what are some keys for an Argo win at Calgary? I don't know what their lifetime record there is at McMahon Stadium, but it's been a stadium of horrors for the Argonauts. So what do you think are some keys for the Argos win at Calgary?
Yeah, I mean, it's really tough to tell for me because to be honest, I haven't watched many of Calgary's games this year. Like, things have just kind of overlapped for me. But I think I don't think Vernon Adams is playing as well as people think. So I think it's just, if they can play well defensively and keep pressure, I think VA is really prone to mistakes. We saw that when he played in BC and Toronto, the one game where he was horrible. And I think that's really, if they can get inside VA's head, I think they'll have no problems. I'm not really too worried about them. Calgary's a good defensive team, but I'm not as worried about them against. I think Chad always seems to find a way, and I mean, they put up 40 points here in Saskatchewan, and they didn't look good in the first half either. So, yeah, I think it's mostly just about playing a solid defensive game, because VA is the kind of guy like Chad who can have these explosive plays. Trey Ford's like this too. They're the guys who can throw these 50-yard bombs and make them. So if you can prevent those kind of plays and especially get turnovers off them, they'll be fine.
I think the key is they're going to have somebody spy on Vernon Adams as well. And they have not had a lot of success in Calgary, and the Stampeders have had their number lately. So I think for the Argos, they need to get off to a good start. They need to jump on Calgary right away. Don't let Calgary hang around in this game. I think the same recipe they did with Saskatchewan. Defense has to make some big plays, special team play here and there, and the offense has to play a relatively clean game, and don't be afraid to attack Calgary secondary. I do think this is a winnable game for the Argos, so this is going to be a test for them, because they've never generally, and all the time I've been an Argos fan, they've never generally played well out there. So I think the first quarter is going to be key. If they can get off to a good first quarter like they did against Saskatchewan, they should win this game, but there's no gimme games in the Canadian Football League, because you can look at a team and say, hey, we should win by 20, 30 points, but there's no gimme games. And I think the Argos should win this game, and I think if they have the same recipe that they did with Saskatchewan, they should come out with another W on Thursday night.
Yeah, absolutely. We're getting a bit low on time here. We've dropped over an hour. Don't forget, so if you're planning on attending practice, I mean, look at either Mike Hogan's socials, or the Argonauts official media, or if you're in the Double Blue Daily Facebook group, join that, and they'll Ken will keep it up to date, and he'll let everybody know. Thank you, Ken, for all the work you do as an ambassador for the fan base. Always appreciate it, especially coming out from Toronto all the way to Guelph. I got a ton of respect for that.
I have to come 5 minutes from my house.
Yeah, Wednesday back in Toronto. I take the train to Toronto anyways, and the exhibition's right there, so it works out great for me once they go back there.
Anyways, yeah. So what's Ken's group again, Nick? For people that people are watching or listening to our show, how can they follow Ken's group on Facebook?
Yeah, so Double Blue Daily, it's a public Facebook group. You'll see it has a big banner and a Double Blue Daily CFL logo in the top left. Picture the CN Tower in the corner. You can't miss it. And I'm sure if you're an Argos fan, you've probably already seen it in your Facebook feed. But great community. All of Toronto's most passionate fans are there, and it's just a great positive community network there. So. Shout out to them and to Ken, and yeah, make sure you follow that if you haven't, because that's one of the best places to pick up on CFL news and conversation.
And the Toronto Argonauts team website is argonauts.ca. For more information on the Toronto Argonauts, argonauts.ca, or their website, or the Canadian Football League's website is cfl.ca. Nick, as we wrap the show up, predictions on the final two games this weekend. Calgary at BC at a sold-out Kelowna game, and Ottawa and Montreal on a rare Sunday night game at 7 o'clock.
Yeah, I think I'm still going to take Calgary in this game. Like I talked about, I think there's just too many injuries in BC right now. Like Rourke can't Superman everything by himself. And then with Ottawa and Montreal, I would have probably taken Ottawa actually if it was on the road. Or sorry, if it was in Ottawa. But yeah, I think they just got a few too many problems that they won't be able to resolve this season. So I'm gonna take Montreal. One thing I will point out that I think everybody on the CFL planet has ignored is that, Frank Clare took a very, very similar route to Ryan Dinwiddie. Clare had won 2 Grey Cups in Toronto, and then 2 years later went to Ottawa in 56. They finished 7-7, lost in the division semis, 8-6, lost in the semis, 6-8, 8-6. They didn't win the Grey Cup for 4 years until 1960. So I know Ottawa's hurting a lot, and they've had a lot of rough years, but I have some faith, guys. That's all I can say, because it paid off when Frank Clare came over.
You got to give a new head coach at least 3 years. You can't just hire him and then okay, you're fired. Too many teams do that, and that's why they struggle and they don't win. So I'm hoping the Ottawa Red Blacks organization gives Ryan Dinwiddie at least 3 years to get this team turned around, and then we'll see what happens. But Nick, my predictions, I'm going to go with BC at home. I think they're fans at Kelowna. I think BC's going to win at home. And Ottawa and Montreal Sunday, I just think Montreal is a better football club. So I'm going to go with the Lions and Alouettes on these games on the weekend. But this is a CFL. I wouldn't be shocked if Calgary and Ottawa both won. Who knows?
Like I said, nobody picked Edmonton to beat Montreal last week and be 3-0. And nobody except our boy Enoch picked Toronto to beat Saskatchewan.
That is true. Everyone else on the TSN crew picked Saskatchewan to win the game.
Yep, exactly.
We'll have to have Enoch on our show one day.
Oh, I talked to him at Ottawa. Not last week when I was there, but the last year when I went for the Canada Day game. Awesome dude. Really like he's really down to earth and just an all around outstanding guy. Fantastic dude to talk to.
Good addition to TSN. And I'm going to say this too. I know not everyone likes Luke Wilson, but I think Luke Wilson has done a good job as an analyst. And whether you like him or not or agree with him, I think he's been good for the CFL, and I think he does a great job. They've paired him up with Dustin Nelson, and Dustin and Luke have good on-air chemistry. And Luke knows the game as well as anybody, even though he played in the NFL. He's still a Canadian kid from Windsor-LaSalle, and yeah, I just think Dustin and Luke's doing a good job. Everybody on the crew, Rod Smith, Dwayne Ford, everybody, Marshall Ferguson, they all have really good crews and sideline reporters, and that really helps grow the CFL when you have a good network like TSN covering the games too.
Yeah, I do gotta say my favorite part. He learned the commentators curse the hard way when he talked about how Trevor Harris has seen it all, and then the very next play he throws the interception at D-time in the end zone.
It happens.
That's my favorite part of the game.
Yes, it happens. Hey, finally, Nick, where can an audience follow you on social media and the best way of contacting you?
Yep. As always, you can find me Nick Small 38 on Twitter, or you can find me on Facebook, Nick Small. I also have the Small History podcast. I wanted to get one this week, but I just got a little too busy. But I'll have one up this week. I want to do one where I talk a little bit about the game sheets and how I tend to look at the game in person when I follow along. Just talk about how I look at it and how I remember everything when we talk about the games in review. The other thing, if you're, I'm going to Woodbine today, so if anybody's coming out, it's the last weekend Aqueduct is running races before they're closing forever. So it's going to be a very interesting weekend and closure to the end of the big era if anybody follows horse racing. So check that out, and if I see any of you there, by all means say hi. And yeah, that's all I gotta say, Chris. So yeah.
Well, Nick, I want to say thank you so much for coming back for season 5, episode 4, and hopefully we can get an episode next week as well, Nick. We'll try to, everybody, thank you for your patience in the 11-day delay, and hopefully Nick and I can do the show on a once-a-week regular basis again as well. I want to say thank you to everyone watching our show today on Facebook, LinkedIn, my YouTube channel. Please subscribe, Twitch, X, and Instagram. And the Argo Bounce podcast show is also on audio platforms such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Good Pods, and wherever podcasts are available. So I want to say thank you to Nick for coming on here today. Thank you to Darius and Alex from the Toronto Argonauts for my media interviews. And also, guys, again, check out my Run for Pause 40-yard dash, which is going to be taking place in July at Alumni Stadium. And I'm going to try to run 40 yards in less than 14 seconds. And I'm just looking for donations of minimum $5 donations or whatever you have. And we'll see if, and this will be video footage of it as well. But I think I can do 40 yards in less than 14 seconds. And also PayPal, you guys can PayPal me at Chris Pomay, or you can, if you see me in person, just if you have some cash on me, you can do it that way as well as e-transfer. So Run for Pause is going to be taking place very soon, and I will announce the day and the time, and the location will be at Alumni Stadium at the University of Guelph. And again, Nick, thank you so much for your donation to the Cambridge District Humane Society. And you can also donate to the Cambridge Humane Society directly instead of me. CambridgeHumaneSociety.org is their website if you'd like to do it through their website online as well. Nick, final thoughts as we wrap up season 4 today.
Yep, just thank you again, Robbie, Ken, George. Appreciate you guys coming on and talking with us today. Always makes the show better when we have people to converse with, and we like to engage with other fan opinions. That's what makes this show fun and unique, that we're able to kind of do more a live talk show rather than a pre-recorded thing, which I think is a bit more enjoyable. So thanks again to all you guys, for everybody tuning in. Thank you. Have a great rest of your weekend. We'll see you. We'll see you for the game on Thursday against Calgary. And as always, go Argos.
Nick, what time is that kickoff on Thursday against Calgary?
Oh,
I should have checked.
I keep closing it. It is on Thursday night at 9 o'clock again. So another long day. Make sure you get your coffee ready.
Argos Calgary Thursday, July 2nd, 9 o'clock kickoff on TSN or TSN 1050 with Mike Hogan and Ben Grant. I'm not sure if they're at the stadiums or they're calling it at a studio, but
No,
you can
they've been calling it at studios.
And that's another thing too we're going to have to talk about in studio broadcasting. It's not the same as being at the stadium. We're going to bring that up.
The amount of times a play ended and Trevor Harris threw it to someone. I'm sorry, I don't know who. I can't read the numbers. That was a big problem last night.
That's going to be brought up at some point. That's going to be brought up on one of our shows. So, Nick, I want to say thank you so much for coming on today. Thank you for your donation to the Cambridge Humane Society. And hopefully you can come out and see me run the 40-yard dash in person in a couple weeks' time, too.
You bet, buddy. Take care, everybody. I got a dash. See you.
Thanks, Nick.
Go Argos.
Go Argos. All right, everyone. That concludes season 5, episode 4 of the Argo Bounce podcast show with Nick Small and myself. The Argo Bounce podcast show is an independent, non-affiliated talk show devoted to the CFL's 19-time Grey Cup champion Toronto Argonauts. And we want to say thank you to everyone for watching today on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitch, X, Instagram, and on my audio platforms such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Good Pods, and wherever podcasts are available. So the next Argo Bounce podcast show, day and time to be announced. We're going to try to be doing it on a consistent, regular basis again on a certain day and certain time as well. So again, the Argos coming off a big 40-34 win over Saskatchewan. The Argos are now 2-1 on the season, and they take on Calgary Stampeders Thursday, July 2nd, again at 9 o'clock from McMahon Stadium. Game is on TSN or TSN 1050 with Mike Hogan and Ben Grant with the call. And I hope you guys enjoy the rest of the weekend and the CFL games tonight. Again, Calgary at BC, and Sunday, Ottawa and Montreal as well. And want to wish everybody a happy Canada Day holiday on Wednesday, July 1st, in case we don't do a show until after that. So everybody wishing you all a happy Canada Day. And again, thank you to Ken, George, and Robbie for watching our show this morning. I hope everybody enjoys the rest of their weekend. Enjoy the CFL action. And as always, go Argos, and we'll see you back here next week with Nick Small and myself, and we'll break down the Argos Calgary Stampeders game as well.
Go, go, go. Pull together, fight the foe, foe, foe. Scoring touchdowns for the blue on blue. The Argos will win for you. Full of fight and courage, you can't stop. They pile up the points until they reach the top. Pull together till the Grey Cup's won. Go Argos, go, go, go. Scoring touchdowns for the blue on blue. The Argos will win for you. Full of fight and courage, you can't stop. They pile up the points until they